It is going to be time now for the very last match of Group A. At this point in time, Ganji is eliminated in 0-2. Stefano has advanced with 2-0. They are playing against one another in Stream B, so if any of you want to see Stefano on Tournament Sunday, you get to. But who do we have watching on this stream, Marcus?
Well, that sets up, of course, Quantic Illusion versus Empire Violet, who are tied. So this is going to be a match that will determine who will advance and who, unfortunately, will be eliminated. Now, what makes this even more interesting is the fact that we saw Illusion pretty much have a very difficult time versus Stefano.
Yes. Such a terrible time.
But then, what a confidence booster it must be to come out and go 2-1 toe-to-toe with Ganzi. Now, he said that he was definitely concerned about playing Violet. Well, we're going to find out if that concern can maybe translate into possible victory.
There's this almost intangible final puzzle piece that you have to get that consistent win in tournaments time and time again. And what you see from Illusion is that last puzzle piece seems to sometimes be missing. In that game, number 1, did that push but couldn't quite get it together against Stefano. Then having that good lead in game number 2 and sort of falling apart. And then what happened against Ganji in game number 1, getting the good lead but not quite being able to seal the deal. And if I had to describe it, it's someone who knows how to close a game once it's won. That's a surprisingly difficult skill to finish off at this level of play.
I completely agree. And I mean, from the Stefano's point of view, it was very evident. It's a skill that he's got down quite well. From, even some of the games Illusion had versus Ganzi, what looked like was going to go one way did go the exact opposite way. Of course, Ganzi and Illusion, both players who could surprise them. But I think this is going to be a more cut and dry series of games. I mean, I'm very much interested to see exactly if Violet's going to do his pretty, standard TVZ play. It's a matchup he seems to like, and he has also been going for those early Hive unique compositions in the later game as well. So, Illusion now beating Ganzi, I've got to say, he's probably feeling some momentum going into this matchup.
But let's take a look at Violet, his achievements, his accomplishments, how obscenely good he has become. First at IEM Sao Paulo, first at the MSI Battlegrounds, first at the MLG Spring Arena. I will note that the Spring Arena, the Battlegrounds, those were within the last month.
Right.
Look at his matchup stats overall. Every number is very big, Marcus.
Right. And
getting over 60% is hard, let alone up to 65.
Yeah, it's very tough. Now, there's something else I want to mention about those achievements. MSI Battlegrounds won the tournament without dropping a map. MLG Spring Arena won the tournament without losing a series. But already, we see Violet actually having some trouble losing 2-1 to Stefano, a player he 2-0'd at the MLG Spring Arena. So, I mean, just an amazing amount of victories without a single loss. He suffers his first one this morning, but will that be the downfall, or will he spring back and advance out of Group A?
I mean, the real question is how Illusion deals with hyper-aggression. Both of these players are some of the most aggressive players I've ever watched. I would say Violet is the most aggressive player I've ever watched. Who wins? And that's important because there are people who attack and lose a lot. I've had experiences with that myself. But looks like Violet is able to counterattack in ways that don't commit him to some kind of downfall. It's just an advantage that he gets, and he always goes back to droning. Huge Ling Baneling attacks early on, literally the opposite style of Zerg from Stefano.
Yeah, I mean, almost the exact opposite. He also likes to, he's said before in many, many interviews that he's not necessarily a player who just likes to cyborg the same game, the same build over and over. In fact, to him, it's more like, well, I just kind of get bored. I like to be able to mix it up. It makes him an even more dangerous opponent because, you know that he's got so many different magic tricks in that little bag of his, and it seems to be never ending. So, whether it is a Nidus, whether it's to go for some super aggro early on in the game, we've seen him really utilize a lot of the various utility of the Zerg to kind of mix it up and throw different stuff at his opponent.
Yeah, and even though you can say something just general like he has lots of styles, but that is only half the story, The second half is what does that cause for Illusion?
Right.
If you're a player and you're up against someone who you don't know how he's going to play compositionally. You don't know when he's going to expand. You don't know when he's going to attack. He could attack at any moment. It all makes you start playing more defensively, building that extra bunker, neglecting to attack in that really good timing window because you have that fear of counterattack.
Sure.
And what you always see his opponents doing is they just suddenly stop attacking ever. And he's able to do things like just run Ling Bang Ling in, lose all of them, and then drone for 5 minutes, and his opponents just don't attack. And Illusion's literally going to have like the snap out of it where someone comes in and slaps him in the face and says attack, and just, oh, okay, yes, he has no units, good.
Maybe that series versus Stefano was exactly that. I mean, obviously, I think he kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say, I will say, he threw caution to the wind a little bit and went, like, I think, heads up versus Ganji. And I feel like he needs to keep that same attitude, that same approach in the game going up against viOLet. You know, I'm either in or I'm out, and do what you can to try to defeat this, you know, pretty meticulously an aggro Zerg that's about ready to...
This would be a shocking start to the Red Bull Battlegrounds if the 2 players to get out were the non-Korean players. If we got the chance to see Illusion and Stefano make it out, and Ganji and viOLet eliminated, that would be one of the biggest upsets we've seen in a long time, because in round robin, it really just sort of averages out a lot of the skill. It's easy to get lucky in one best of 3 in a single elimination or double elimination tournament, but I mean, to successfully pull off 2 series out of 3 is always difficult.
And there we see both players setting up. Looks like they are going to be ready pretty soon. But yeah, we're going to finish up Group A here. This will, of course, conclude with viOLet versus Illusion and Ganji versus Stefano on the other stream. Kicking off Group B, that'll be the next one. That will be Sase versus Tasia and Sheth versus Thorzane. That will be kicking off Group B.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the Sase Tasia game, especially. I mean, that PVT that Sase's been developing, and Taja's ridiculous ability to drop and do multi-pronged attacks. I'm real interested to see how those are going to meld up.
Yeah, in fact, we could be having drops going on by both players simultaneously. Either way, it should be a great way to kick off Group B. Also want to thank everyone who's come out here, not only last night for the meet and greet, but all of you in the crowd today. Hello. Starting to see the club area fill out and the top area fill out, and people find their own seats, the secret spots, the perfect place to get a nice view of the venue. But we appreciate everyone coming out. Got a lot more StarCraft to play.
And you know, I want to talk a little bit about the map that these 2 players are going to be playing on. It's going to be on Entombed Valley, which, again, a lot of people downvote on the ladder. Oh, you can end up in these odd positions. But in Entombed Valley, look at that 50-50 split in TVZ. It's miraculously close. But do you think that this is just that in long positions it favors Zerg and in close positions it favors Terran? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually exactly what you said. I mean, there's, of course, it depends on what your Terran counterpart, your enemy decides to do. But, you know, I feel like they can get that 3rd base. They can sit on some siege tanks, have a really, really nice, solid defense until they do begin to push themselves out, grab that 4th in the middle. So, you know, as mentioned with the other matches as well, you know, I think what the spawning positions are is going to definitely dictate the pace of this particular game. You know, some even being more set up for accelerated drop play.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And, you know, actually, if we can just take a look at that map screen again, I just want to show how difficult it is for Terran to secure a 4th base. Just envision Terran in the top left. If he decides to go for that northern central base, there's a huge counterattack path up his natural. If he tries to go for that leftmost base, there's a huge counterattack path open at his 3rd. That always makes it so uncomfortable for Terran, and again, counterattacking, I think, is the key feature of viOLet's play.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. We saw it in even his earlier matchups. We've seen it throughout his victories, where he's gone almost an entire tournament without losing a single map.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that is definitely a key and important aspect of his play, and there is Illusion right now getting set up for this very, very important Group A matchup.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are expecting viOLet to go ahead and take this one, expecting to see those top 2 Zergs. It was actually the 2 players that a lot of people had said they want to go out. But I do believe it was Rob Simpson who said that he thought that Illusion was going to make it through. So
oh, that contrarian Rob, who's right always, let's be honest.
Find out, yep.
Now, I actually think that the fact that we're waiting this long for Illusion is really telling because of the fact that he was just, yeah, let's go into game against Hispano. I'm ready, let's do it against Ganji. He was in 3 different custom games restarting, making sure his settings were good, tweaking. You saw him on camera tweaking. And now it looks like he's in the game. Empire Violet is ready. Illusion is ready. Are you ready? Good luck, have fun. Good games have been exchanged. The map is going to be GSL Entombed Valley. The elimination match coming up right now. The winner advances to the playoffs. The loser eliminated.
And that's a rough position to be in, Sean. You know, you're kind of thinking, okay, I've got my group figured out. I'm going to be able to get through my games today, and I'll be able to prepare for the bracket tomorrow. And then suddenly you're like, oh my God, my tournament life's on the line already. This is the 3rd match. This got to be a little jarring for Violet.
And you know, this is something that, you know, a lot of players have had said that there's some issues with sometimes if there's gaps between matches. You know, I played my upper bracket game, then had to wait a long time for my lower bracket game. You know, players also have another issue when they're playing in a match like this where they have to just focus solidly for 3 hours. They have to perform at their absolute tip-top of the game. Sure, it's just in one burst, but if you lose focus a little bit, done.
So, based off our positions, should we go ahead and introduce our players?
Oh, that's right. Go
Up
ahead,
here
Marcus.
In the Northwest, as the Red Terran, he took down Complexity Ganzi just moments ago and must win both games in order to advance. It is Quantic Illusion.
One of the friendliest faces in pro gaming and one of the fiercest, most relentlessly aggressive StarCraft 2 players of all time. From Team Empire, it is Violet.
You know, one thing that Violet did walk away from with his recent victories was a very, very high level of confidence. You can just see it when you talked with him. He said that he had those moments where, you know, he always felt like he was going to be able to do very well and perform well and who he could beat. But once he won those competitions, then suddenly it kind of turned into something like, you know what, I have more confidence. I can beat some of these great players. I'm not as scared to go up against some of these players, but you still, no matter if you win games, win in giant tournaments, you still have to take every single matchup seriously. And so will that ring true for Violet? I mean, this is such a critical game for him, and obviously Illusion, but I think that Violet's got a little bit more writing on it.
You know, that's actually kind of an interesting point that you bring up, the fact that for Violet, the tournaments that he's won, he's actually come from the winner's bracket every time, and that's a really nice feeling. Even if I lose this game, I still am alive in the lower bracket, but now it's, I have to win this game.
Right.
Can't do anything like that. How embarrassing. Yeah, it wouldn't, thank you very much. Those poor audio engineers.
Like,
wow.
What's going on up there? Something must be.
Is a cord unplugged or is Day9 just an idiot? Well, it's one of those two.
I would say it was an elaborate troll that you performed very well.
Oh, I know. It's to give the tournament that homey feel.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the openings that we've got here. Starting over here as we see featured the low ground CC going down for Illusion. He's getting his reactor on that Rax, and he's going to switch that over with the factory almost immediately. Over here on the other side, we've got Violet already getting his first queen, second queen, and I'll be watching
third queen, fourth queen.
Third and fourth, and this is that style that has been able to thwart some of these Hellion openings as the recent changes of the queen range have certainly done Zergs good.
An Illusion not even pulling any out of gas, might have some sort of cute timing following this, but thus far it's just standard out of Illusion and atypical coming out of Violet. I say atypical just because players in the last year were not favoring these 4 queen openings, but in the last 2 weeks have been all about it. These next 2 queens don't do extra larva injects. They begin spreading creep right away. There they are. More puking going on, adding on those extra larvae, and Violet with sort of an interestingly timed pair of extractors.
And we're going to see what exactly he's going to decide to do with that. Instantly, 2 queens will go ahead and thwart those 2 Hellions away, but 2 more have just been seen leaving the Terran base and are now on the way. More Marines following up behind that, already getting his +1 and stim in this timing, but has not stopped the creation of those Hellions. And we've seen this type of strategy get a bunch of Marines, mass up on the Hellions and then just push. But we are going to have Evo Chamber and a Spine Crawler going down with the Queens as well. This should actually turn out to be quite an interesting engagement early on here.
Yeah, and I mean, like, even viOLet building this early Evo Chamber helps with the early defense, but also I was even doing a daily on him earlier this week, and he just always goes for a very fast Carapace upgrade. It's very much so in line with his yearn to counterattack so much. It's not about doing damage. Again, it's about making sure those counterattack units can stay alive if you need to do some kind of retreat. And Illusion doing his best to try to abate this creep spread, but with that many creep tumors coming out, it's going to be mighty tough.
Now there are several Zerglings that swung around the back and are going to go in here, go up against 2 Marines and 2 Hellions. He's going to be able to pick away, but he picks away 1, 2, 3 Marines, starts to work on those Hellions. Was that worth it?
Well, I think it's a good bit of information at the very least. Sees the engineering bay down already, Illusion already kicking into gear, going for very fast medevacs, and a Baneling nest now coming down. And the big thing, look at this! Illusion sees the 3rd base. When you see the 3rd, then you think, aha, no layer anytime soon. Probably won't even be able to get it started until 9 minutes. And right now, I mean, this is going to be a near perfect position for Illusion to do the damage he needs.
Well, we'll see. Illusion still has quite a few of these Hellions moving up. +1's going to be completing. More Marines on the way. Stim's going to be completing as well. And no additional units. Here we do have the Lings coming out. I'm still kind of stuck on that initial little journey by viOLet's Lings. I felt like he could have done the exact same thing with 4 Lings that he did with about 12. But here we go. The Hellions are moving forward now. Lings are in position here around the map. A few Banelings are also going to be morphing in, certainly to help out in a situation. And he is also getting his +1 melee as well.
Wow, that's very, very meticulous by Illusion to make sure that every single roundabout path has no units at all, even if it's 2 Lings. And this is a real danger. These Lings, 6 Lings working on destructible rocks, takes 2 minutes to knock it down. This many Lings going to take about a minute and a half. So at this point, Illusion is going to be safe to do damage to this 3rd, and we're going to have to see viOLet walk all the way around. He's morphing so many Banelings.
Yeah, more Banelings are coming into play. And you know what? This just frankly would not work if this creep was not here. Certainly, Illusion's got to be getting rid of some of this creep. There's the scan to get rid of the initial tumors. We see some of these Spine Crawlers moving forward, and he's just going to go ahead and go for it, but he's got plenty of room to maneuver past the creep. Oh, he loses a lot of Lings, and he's got to bait these units in before he actually goes forward, because these slow Banelings, even on creep, are not going to be able to catch up with those units.
And look at this, Illusion still going for the big barrack style, delaying the factory, loves being aggressive, counterattack by viOLet, but look at Illusion just building buildings and a nice big wall, still working down on those destructible rocks. And Illusion now moving to the backside, trying to pick off some creep there. There's the scan. Oh, he's so hungry to shoot the Banelings, but no, the refresh on that Hellion shot a little bit too long.
Yeah, quite good actually, removing that creep from there, going in and out. And we do have some Lings up on the upper portion of the 3rd, just checking off for that as well. So here he's going to be morphing that into an orbital.
And looks like Illusion
Hey, we're
now is
you
moving
too.
over to the right side. And we see Quantic Illusion at the front of his base, also getting that +1 armor upgrade in the 3rd hatchery. We see that viOLet has just now finished his Gas Geysers infestation pit coming up as well. But it looks like it's going to be a really nice big timing by Illusion. And he's doing the huge drop in the main base, and we're seeing a big surround manages to pull out of there very nicely. So it looks like Illusion now is unable to take his 3rd base.
No, he was not. Obviously, the Lings were there. They were in position. He is going to move it over right now, but the Lings have actually moved back now. He's really concerned about this attack from the front. He does have some, he does have a few Lings down at the bottom, or Lings up at the top, We also have Banshee as well.
Oh, that is exactly what he needs, but no, the Zerglings surround. A perfect pick there by Empire's viOLet, and now we see viOLet trying to do the damage. Illusion will retreat. Meanwhile, we see in the main base, viOLet is completely safe, and Illusion now taking out the rocks.
Yes, here we go. We've got all of these units out in the front. We got these medevacs now coming back in. Fourth is going to be taken here by viOLet, and there's going to be a quick drop to go ahead and get this effect if he stims forward. Even if he doesn't stim forward, he should be able to force a cancel off of that. And he might be able to get it even without the cancel, and he does.
Wow, very nice play.
Yeah, and he's still got the potential here for drops. Did we get Balin? Well, Burrow's on its way. The Infestors are right behind it. He's getting Overlords into position as well to make sure that obviously he is not going to miss any drops that come out. And I think these Infestors could really turn the tide here for viOLet.
Oh, and there's the unload. And now it looks like viOLet is in a lot of trouble. He needs to get it. Wow, very nice pickup there by Illusion. We also see that Illusion is taking his factory. Or building a second factory following that. And we do see Illusion has a lot of barracks up in the main base, building that fourth command center. I mean, Illusion is so responsible about getting that up consistently.
More creep tumors are being eliminated here in the center just by 5 Marines. Of course, that is cleaned up quite quickly here, but the drop comes back in, and the Banelings are falling down. He does manage to get rid of a few of those Banelings, but will be forced to retreat back. There, those Infestors just wiggling onto the scene, but a bit too slow to get in. And look at this giant force that is moving out right now for
wow,
Illusion.
Marcus. Now moving down, crossing through mid. Zergling's going to try to surround, but the creep spread is really far up, and that's going to slow Illusion down a lot, Marcus. I mean, trying to get anywhere nearby. viOLet does have a lot of Infestors up, but you need to have the Lings in combo with the Infestors. 86 up, a lot poised for a counter attack.
Yes, and also 3-3 is already on the way for Illusion. The Hive just about to finish up here for viOLet. And now here come more Banelings. There was a nice fungal, not enough to finish it off. He is going to be able to eat the rest of those Marines.
And Illusion deflects the counterattack relatively easily with a nice rally.
And now we've got another attack down here at the fourth. Banelings clean up all of that action all around the map, as it looks like Illusion now going to move up through the middle. He spreads his Marine quite well, getting all of his tanks into position, avoiding the fungals. And here, the Lings move forward.
But there are not that many ground units to reinforce. These Infestors are sitting ducks. One more blast. Oh, doesn't manage to take any out. viOLet continue to try to pick them off, but 1, 2, 3 Infestors, no, just a pair go down. And though Illusion's attack was done there, he has a whole nother round coming up. Some burrowed Banelings, or some Zerglings there, ready to deal some damage.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here. The more Marines do come up through the middle, and then we've got those medevacs were retained as well, which is quite nice. Those Zerglings unburrowed. And now moving into position, they are taken out and swinging around.
viOLet is feeling a little worried about that fourth.
Yes, he is, and I would be too. He's got to land some great fungals here that keep this fourth alive. It's going to be so crucial.
And there's the stim, and it looks like Illusion now moving up and getting completely surrounded, and incredible damage by viOLet. Illusion lifting, loading, unloading, but will have to eventually do a retreat. But Marcus, I can't actually tell if Illusion is getting ahead or behind in all these exchanges.
I know.
Oh, there's the big fungal.
I mean, he's really done a phenomenal job taking out these units over and over again, taking out these oncoming forces, but he needs that one decisive victory where he can move forward and start to take a presence that's not right in front of his fourth or his third, etc., because it really is Illusion who has been the constant aggressor throughout this particular matchup. But I feel like if he overextends, he might give viOLet a good opportunity to then push forward and get the job done.
And now Illusion starting to step forward. It does have 3-3 upgrades almost done. See the burrowed spine crawlers trying to make their way forward. The Infestors there. Oh wow, viOLet getting a big chunk of Brood Lords.
Oh yeah,
and Illusion has been trying to pick down viOLet as best he can before those Brood Lords pop up, but now 9 are coming up, and Illusion starting to step forward more and more with these tanks. Some really nice infested Terran lobs, but it looks like Illusion starting to step around to do a big hit in the main, doing a big spread, doing a great job. And there's the Link Baneling coming in, a surprise attack from the back, cleaning it up, and this is a huge danger for Illusion right now. If he loses this big push at the front, right when the Broodlords pop out, that could be devastating, but no, the drop at the third base can't be defended by viOLet because he only has Broodlord Infestor.
Yeah, and here comes a big group through the middle. There's nothing there. He needs to get those fungals down, and he does. The Broodlord should be able to clean up those Marines, no problem, but that tank still exists, and the third is getting ripped apart. Here, finally, reinforcements come in. No fungal. On top of that, there it finally goes down. The Corruptor's taking out that medevac, and has the damage been done? Quite a few drones have been eliminated, up to 22, but he killed this advancing force, and he should be able to gain some ground here. However, Illusion is just relentless. 3-3 groups of Marines and tanks continuously moving forward, getting in good positions, causing economic damage. Here's another drop at the natural, and he's awfully close to that greater spire.
And Illusion actually opting to siege up. Transfuses by viOLet, keep all the queens alive. Medevacs fall down. A distraction play by Illusion as he sweeps over to the fourth base. Unbelievable play by Illusion. He will take down the fourth base of viOLet.
Yes, and he is probably going to get cleaned up here as a result, but being that base down is going to be difficult to keep alive. There we get a fungal again, and the Broodlords continue to push, but there is another force ready to move forward here for Quantic Illusion.
Illusion just never stops macroing.
Oh, he's just got these Corruptors sitting here, like 3 free Corruptors were killed by these Marines. They are going to get cleaned up, but viOLet just kind of falling apart a little bit here.
I mean, Illusion just playing phenomenally in this position. viOLet now moving forward. We have all the Broodlords starting to step in. There's the stim. He is not going to wait for it. Unsieged tanks, so many Vikings, and if the Zerglings start to clean up and the Marines can get into the action, no fungal growth going to clean that up, but there's no more Corruptors here to deal with this huge count of Vikings. 4 more Vikings get into the fray, and it looks like no matter how many Corruptors or fungals get thrown down, there might be just too many Vikings, but no, viOLet manages to break the front, and Illusion suddenly looking in a very dangerous position.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, he desperately needs something to deal with these Vikings. 2 queens moving forward, the transfusion's going off, and he is going to clean up these Vikings. And he even saves that one. 4 Broodlords left over, 5 Infestors trying to get their energy back up and running. Another base going down. Queen eliminated.
He can get that, and it looks like a lot of Zerglings sweeping in. The Vikings, though, incredibly small forces. Illusion strength, that stutter step. 1 Broodlord down, 2 Broodlords down. Can he get 3? That would be such a coup if he could annihilate the entire Broodlord force. And amazingly, viOLet manages to stay alive, but barely, Marcus.
Yes, the 4th base is now up with a 5th following right behind it. But look at this, 4th base gone up for Illusion. Another base over here. He has got 5 established bases. He's bringing out these forces constantly over and over again. Now he's got some Thors added into the mix. So the tanks, you know, not having the tanks, how do you feel about this transition now from basically tank to Thor?
It's so cool. Abandoning tanks, no reason that they would be useful against the Infestors when you have the more mobile Thors, only really useful against the Baneling mixtures and the Roach Heavy mixtures, and now spreading into the front. This base is going to fall. The burrow. Does Illusion recognize? Can he scan, pick off a bunch of free drones regardless? The unit count is looking very slim, and at the same time, a drop at the natural, not a big one, but enough to just keep viOLet in a lot of places at once.
Yeah, he's bringing back Infestors, which is not the greatest thing to deal with, just 3 Marines. The Queen does go down. He's now set up on the side. It looks like he definitely wants to engage to this particular army over here. So fungals are going to get dropped down as well. And now we see the Broodlords continue to do some damage. But these Marines are still alive. They continue to kill so many Zerglings. And, I mean, viOLet is just fighting for his life.
viOLet just can't quite kill the Thors off fast enough. Hello, reinforcement army. Broodlord 1 falls. Broodlord 2 goes down as well. Good game, well played.
GG, wow.
Illusion takes the lead 1-0 after a dramatic game number 1.
Illusion looking really nice. I mean, once he had the opportunity to continue to just apply more and more pressure, he never stopped ever. And you know, we talked about it. There were a few moments where if that constant pressure gets stopped and the Zerg is left over with quite a few units, they can move to the middle of the map. They can start to set that up. It seemed like it was going to happen right as those Broodlords came in. But again, we had drops in the natural while the 4th kept on getting harassed, and Illusion just was not going to let that happen.
Oh, I mean, it was incredible the way that Illusion would do the drops. And I mean, I'd be looking at that drop, and in a vacuum, I'm thinking that is going to die so fast. It drops like 2 tanks and 4 Marines and sieges the tanks. And I'm like, Illusion. But a lot of Zerglings have to come back. 2 Infestors have to come back. And what happens at the 4th? Huge counter swing by Illusion. Completely abuse the positioning of the Zerg army. Infestor Broodlord really strong at the army, but it's terrible in terms of trying to split up into different locations on the map. And this is an interesting map choice for viOLet. It's going to be on Daybreak, which, you know, let's talk a little bit about, Marcus. I would probably say that this is one of the Zerg favorite maps.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with a lot of the advancements and sort of the way that Zerg are actually maxing up and with some of the compositions they're going for. I mean, there's no doubt that this is a Zerg favorite.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that there's the 2 big counterattack paths, the fact that you have all your expansions lining the far away side of the map. But what's interesting to me is despite these matchup records, a lot of people do choose this map as Terran and Protoss in a lot of tournaments. It's very easy to turtle on 3 bases. And what we're slowly seeing is Terrans are realizing, aha, I can't take my back natural. I have to take my 3rd in the center of the map that you see there on Daybreak. So I'm interested if we're going to see a more aggressive Illusion or a more passive one.
Well, I mean, based off of how he's played and his victory over Gonzi, I would not be surprised to see him go and to see him actually be that aggressive player that you expect him to be. And I'm almost there, man.